Schwartz here with Marty Music, hanging out in Nashville, Tennessee. One of my favorite artists out there, especially on strings. I can't say guitar. It's a sacred steel. We got Robert Randolph. Dude, so excited to have you here, man.
So I'm happy to be here, bro.
Thanks, man. It's an honor. I've listened to you since the very beginning of your career that goes beyond, like, you used to just play in the church, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
so
yeah.
the album, The Word, as soon as that came out, one of my friends turned me on to that, and I've been a fan ever since. So
thank you.
It's really cool to have you here.
I appreciate it, man. I'm happy to see you. I'm always following you on social media and trying to learn something every day.
Thanks, man. I mean, you really had a major life turn, right?
Yeah,
when
yeah.
You did The Word.
Yeah.
And then it just a whole other world happened, right?
Yeah. Just became a whole nother. And every day, it was kind of like you don't really even know what's happening. You just kind of keep going, you know?
Yeah.
Until one day you wake up, you're like, man, what the hell's going on?
Well, so what is you have a new album. What's it called?
It's called Preacher Kids. Yeah, we got a new band, my band. Tash Neal plays guitar.
Of course.
Yeah, so Tash is in the band, is kicking. So it's finally like really my first record of, me dueling with another guitar player while it's happening,
Yeah.
And
I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's great, man. He kills it. And
he did the Slash thing.
He did, yep. Yeah, he did the Slash thing, yeah.
He's getting around.
Yeah, he's getting around.
You grew up in just playing in church. Your dad's a preacher, right?
My mother and my grandmother.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up.
My father likes to think he's a preacher.
I got it. But so you learned this style because it was specific to that upbringing?
Yep. Yeah. Sacred Steel Church. Actually, it's wild. A lot of people don't know that our church headquarters is here in Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah, it's over by Tennessee State, and that's where the main convention has been going on since the 1930s.
Okay. Wow.
So yeah, our whole tradition travels here to Nashville.
I've had Luther Dickinson on here, and he's part of you kind of breaking out of that world, right?
Yeah.
And the album called The Word.
Yeah, The Word was the first record. Well, yeah, the North Mississippi All-Stars and John Medeski, because at that time the Sacred Steel tradition was getting out, and so we had there was a thing called Sacred Steel Live that was put out, and then North Mississippi All-Stars and those guys heard that, and they wanted to do The Word, which was a tribute to our style of music, so the world could hear it. And that was sort of the introduction of Robert Randolph, Sacred Steel, with The Word to the world.
You hadn't been out, like you weren't familiar with any of those bands that you've collaborated with now for years, right?
Yeah, I wasn't familiar.
So were they just like aliens to you when they came in? They're like, hey man.
Yeah. They was all like sort of, I was like, what are you guys from? Because that's the thing, our church, the Sacred Steel music or our church's music, we had our own little chitlin circuit. So that's why people don't understand. Like we would travel to Nashville. We would be here for 2 weeks every year between June and you would kind of come down here and get like sort of your library, or you would learn. But our chitlin circuit was I call it a chitlin circuit, but it's like, it's in all of the inner cities on the East Coast and the Midwest. So it's Detroit, Chicago, and Brooklyn, and the Bronx, and Miami, and all of these, Charlotte, right? So we would travel doing that, throughout my whole life, my parents' whole life, and my grandparents' whole life.
Damn.
And great-grandparents' whole life.
So up to meeting Luther and just that kind of world of getting you into a different audience, had you listened to Jimi Hendrix before that?
We knew who Jimi Hendrix was, but I didn't really listen.
Yeah.
The first Sacred Steel convention was like 1997, I believe, or 98. And right before that, so 1996, there was a guy from my church who gave me a tape of Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Ah, okay.
And so that's when I started to like try to learn everything, I tried to apply it to this, And so when we did the first Sacred Steel convention, I met a guy named Jim Marco who introduced me to a lot of all of that music. He sent me a box of CDs, everything, Allman Brothers and the band and P-Funk and Hendrix and everything, right? And so it's funny because once I learned all the stuff about Stevie Ray Vaughan, I would get into arguments with like the All-Stars and John Medeski and other people. I'd be like, man, Stevie Ray's better than Hendrix. They'd be like, shut up. What are you talking about? I'm like, I mean, that's the style that I like, you know?
Yeah. No, I think there's it's a good argument because you're going into it where, Hendrix didn't necessarily come out before SRV for you. It's all kind of you were exposed to it at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're going into it with actually different perspective than those guys.
Yeah.
They're kind of putting a lot more emphasis on the fact that Hendrix came first. And
See, that's what I mean, but I get the Hendrix thing now.
Of course,
you know?
of
But
course.
back then I fell in love with the Stevie Ray Vaughan bluesy rock style and all of that,
Yeah. And also Stevie Ray Vaughan's Little Wing is better than, I know Hendrix wrote it.
Yeah.
But
Stevie Ray one. Yeah.
It's hard to argue that one.
Yeah. I mean, Stevie took it to a whole nother place,
He
right?
did, man. He did.
I mean, I still listen to that and be blown away.
Can you give me an example of just like real more traditional Sacred Steel sound from before your entrance into the world of Allman Brothers Hendrix and all that? Yeah.
So that's a church service, you're like, glory, glory, hallelujah, sits burning down, glory, hallelujah, burning down. That's where we grew up, know.
And you didn't there, but like I feel like the very first song of that Word album. And by the way, I heard the Word album before YouTube existed and all that. It was my friend who lives in Memphis. He does a lot of music photography, named Bob Bain, and he knows the Dickinsons. And we were just friends. I was like a gigging musician in California.
Yeah.
And he was, and so he's in Memphis. Internet's not as huge as as part of everyone's life as it is now. No YouTube, no social media. And he calls me and he was like, you have to hear this album, The Word. And he explained it all to me. And, I grew up in Southern California near LA. I didn't know Sacred Steel, I hadn't been exposed to that at all. And so I went and I got that record. And does it just open with you by yourself? Like a little...
Yeah, like the kind of the... Oh, like yeah.
Singer?
Something like that.
Yeah. Right on. So yeah, for someone growing up near Disneyland, I didn't get that into my culture.
You didn't get that.
We got like punk rock and stuff, MTV and stuff like that. So but I was really getting into being a guitar player at that time that Word album came out. So it made a huge impact on me. So who taught you this?
Do
you even remember?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination, of all of my ancestors. I call them ancestors, but
I got you.
So that Sacred Steel forefathers. This guy named Calvin Cook. He's 82 right now. There's a guy named Ted Beard who's 90, still living right now. There was a guy that died. His name was Henry Nelson. He was sort of the king of a lot of the moaning, and then one of the Campbell brothers, Chuck Campbell. Those were sort of like our Sacred Steel, for me, the guys that I watched play. There's another guy named Lorenzo Harrison, another guy named Ronnie Mosey. Those were, I don't know if you know Jarius Mosey, the guitar player from his father. So we all from the same church. And so his father is another great player
And
too.
where is that church?
Jarius church, their church was in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Yeah, they were in Indianapolis. Calvin Cook and Ted Beard were from Cleveland and Detroit. Chuck Campbell, the Campbell brothers were from Rochester, right? Glenn Lee from the Lee Boys was from Miami, right? Henry Nelson was originally from down south, but then he lived in Brooklyn my whole entire life. So, and Henry Nelson's style was That's Henry Nelson, man.
So somehow because yes, it's church. There's something in that is like the answer to everything.
Hey, man, I was just talking telling
I don't know
one of my uncles, bro.
Put it into words.
Me neither, bro. I was just telling one of my uncles that just like Sunday, man, we were talking about it. I said, man, it's something that Henry Nelson came up with that, and we've been playing that literally for now. It's like almost 100 years. It's like the call of like the spirit, man.
Yeah.
And he was on a lap steel, by the way. So Henry Nelson was on a Fender lap steel, man. His sound was so far superior and powerful that people used to say, man, he got special strings.
That's gonna go on forever.
Yeah.
That
They'd be like,
forever.
man, he has special strings. Be like, man, what kind of special strings?
Yeah. So it looks so fun to play. I could imagine were you a little kid, like messing around on it?
Yeah, every chance we get, we would try to copy what they would do, but kind of took years. We started on a lap steel, then I went to like a pedal steel, and then, but yeah, you start out on a little 6-string lap, little lap steel. I had an Oahu lap steel.
Were you discouraged from playing music that wasn't like religious church music?
Yeah.
So there must have been a weird, I think maybe I've read about stuff just from your own interviews, but you did make a transition at some point.
Yeah.
Was that a difficult thing to go out and do, or?
I mean, it wasn't difficult for me because it was like a mission to go and do it.
Yeah.
It's
like a different type of, you're teaching people, you're exposing something to people that hadn't heard it before.
Yep. Yeah. That's
kind of preaching.
Well, it's kind of funny. That's sort of where the title of my record, like the song I put out, it was called Sinner. That's what it's about. It's like breaking out from your tradition. You're called a sinner. No matter what tradition you're from, anybody, you, me, your grandparents, you go, Mom, go on and move to Nashville. They're like, why are you doing that? Go up there with them crazy people.
Right.
Come on back here down to Biloxi, Mississippi, where the holy people are. And you're like, Yeah, but it's only one grocery store.
Where do you live now?
New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what it is. Any tradition, that's what like you call the center, like basically, like wherever we're from, right? And so that's really. So that's where you try to capitalize on all of the Henry Nelson stuff. Like, so you go. So they'd be in church like, and God said, come unto me and rest. Lay down, not weary one. Lay down. You know what I mean? So if you walk into a church and you hear that, you be like, oh, snap. You're like, boy, I better get on my knees and start praying.
I love it. Robert, do you remember the first like riff you ever played, or like what's like the first riff that comes to mind when I say what's the first riff you ever played?
Yeah, this is the first riff I learned how to play right here.
So what's that?
So my friends would come over. I'd be like 14, 15. We'd be playing video games.
Yep.
And so whenever somebody gets eliminated, I would like, it's like, all right, you lost. I'm next on the game. And they'd be like, get out of here, get out of here. So they'd be like, come on, Rob, play that riff. Like, get out of here, get out of here. I'm like, get off the controller. Give me that controller.
How many of these do you bring on the road?
Sometime like two. Have one, I have one tuned down.
What kind of magic strings do you use? No. No, is there like
Actually, you want to hear something funny?
sacred steel strings? Or?
Well, what's wild is these are new strings that we designed. So Showbud, we just helped the original Showbud family acquire the name back from Gretsch.
Okay.
But so we invented these strings, these are piano strings on here, basically. So it's exposed core here. You see how the skinny part here, it's not over the. Yep. So the wound part, it's not. So what happens is it helps to give you more sustain. And even more clarity. So you know how piano, when you start hitting these notes like that? When you get all the way up there, it's all bells like that? see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get the bells up there. So, yeah, you can get all these little bells.
I know I'm curious, so I think that means a lot of other guitar players would be curious. How this whole thing, is this the exact same like a country pedal steel instrument?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so let me see if I get this right. First of all, 2, 4, 6, so 12 strings
12 strings.
starting on a low B.
First string is
Is
a
it
B.
all fourths?
Not really. So this is a B, this is an E, this is a G, B, E, F sharp, G sharp, B, D, E, G sharp, F sharp.
So that's why.
So it's kind of traditional to some country. It's like that's normal country pedal steel. You know? And then this is like 7. You know? So like, so the advantage that a lot of country guys don't have is they can't play no rock and roll, man.
Had listened to you before. I've listened to you a lot, but that was the one thing because I didn't know how the instrument really worked. So I was always like, because I would try open E with a slide, and I could never do like like make it sound like running through the blues scale like I would hear you do in the recordings. And so I was always curious, but now I can see some of your strings are pretty close together in their intervals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, that.
But a lot of these things, like, so we got like...
So these move different strings half steps?
Yeah, it kind of is. The thing about pedals, like, you can make them do whatever you want them to do to get a chord.
You can assign it to a...
Yeah, you can assign them. So that's why when you were showing me that Hendrix chord...
Oh, you had to adjust the...
Yeah.
Ah,
but I still got to get rid of this note. Right? So, but see, that's the thing that's sucky about pedal steels. It's like, you want to be able to strum it. You want to be, but that's in the way.
Gotcha.
So actually what you could do is sometimes you can make pedals so I can make that get to a note. Let me see. Yeah, so I can make that. So this one to repeat so I can strum.
Ah. And you're pressing down on a pedal.
Well, I'm doing pedals and knee levers to get that. So, like, yeah, in order to make that chord, I'm doing this pedal and so.
Oh, geez.
So I'm doing 2 knees and a pedal. So even so, sometimes like you get a lot of these chords that's like an organ, you know. You got. So I'm using. Let's see. I'm gonna do a little progression. So
I would imagine these things break.
I mean, yeah, they'll kind of go in and out of tune or certain things like that. You know?
But I mean, like rustling around in a trailer or, a cargo.
Well, what's
truck or
funny
whatever.
is like you could show me a chord right now, and if I haven't played it, I would learn it, but I gotta keep doing it because you gotta once you find it.
There's a lot involved.
Just like
there.
that other chord. Like,
Yeah.
see, I forgot where it was already. The Prince thing that we were trying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you kind of gotta once you learn it, it's a whole. You gotta find it, and then you gotta be like. I know.
Robert Randolph hanging out right now. Is there a riff you wish you had written?
Oh man, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that's one. There you go.
Love that. It's golden right there. All right, so June 27th, you have a new album, Preachers.
Preacher Kids. Yeah.
Preacher Kids.
Yeah, Preacher Kids, June 27th. Make sure you check it out.
Nice. We'll have links
Yes.
below for all your social, your various music endeavors that you've got going on. I imagine you're going to be playing a lot of shows over the summer.
Yep, a lot of shows will be on tour, festivals, and playing a bunch of headlining shows. So
And
yeah.
is that under the same Robert Randolph and the Family Band, or
No, just the Robert Randolph Band.
how long is that? Has it been like?
Well, it's been like that since 21.
Oh, okay, so not that long.
Yeah, not that long, 22. But this is like the first official record.
So
of
the
record.
Robert Randolph Band.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Right. All right. Once again, it was just a great honor to have Robert Randolph here. His new album, Preacher Kids.
Preacher Kids, baby.
Preacher Kids is out in June. Go check it out. We got links below. Go see an amazing show and go see Robert Randolph Band out there doing his thing. Check out Preacher Kids as well and all his other albums and everything he's done. You won't be disappointed. And just thanks again, man.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
You too, man.
Peace.
All right, see you later.